to that. Spurs and Sixers. I got Iman Shumpert. First of all, Victor Wembanyama in the first quarter was just spectacular. Going up against Embiid, that's 15 feet of fun. Between the two of them, well, look at the spin move, Allen, on the sideline.
Yeah, Oubre, too small. Everybody pretty much is too small, but just easy finish on the post. He looked like early on he was rolling.
And Shump, how about this? Just throw it up and let the big fella throw it down.
Man, it must be a nice luxury, man.
And then here's the best one. We got a transition. Watch Wembanyama
run that floor. Run that floor. Hey!
Oh, let me show you looks.
Hey!
We need more angles.
You need
I
angles.
love it. Oh, I love
it. From every
I love
angle.
to see it. Oh,
Here comes the best one.
Oh, watch your face.
Athletic.
Wembanyama 9 points in the first quarter, but then everything turns. Watch it here. Wembanyama off the Embiid loose ball. Wembanyama colliding with Paul George, and he is in pain.
Yeah, he's going for the ball. It doesn't look like a lot, and at first the thought was that it was a shoulder issue as he's grabbing the shoulder right there. He left, he came back into the game, but we'll see he's just not the same.
See, his hands are down here. He doesn't look like his usual active self on the defensive end, and then shortly thereafter on the offensive side, Shump, you could just see he doesn't feel right. You see it?
Yeah, it's just not aggressive.
But just look at him as he walks away.
He still scored it, though.
Right away,
He got the bucket. He would score 17, but he would leave at halftime and not return until left rib contusion. There's a lot of significance to this. We'll talk about it in a minute. Meanwhile, Spurs would pull away in his absence. They're up 11, and then Luke Cornett, and now they're up 13. Stephon Castle had a triple-double. Spurs win it 115-102. They reach 60 wins for the first time in 9 years. But the storyline is Wembanyama, and here's the magic number. He has played in 64 games this year. They have 3 remaining. Remember, the season ends on Sunday. He needs to play at least 20 minutes in one of San Antonio's 3 remaining games to reach the 65-game threshold that is required for NBA season awards. Again, you'll see them tomorrow night against the Trailblazers on ESPN. We don't know whether or not we will see Wembanyama, and that obviously is a major question here. The 65-game rule has come up a lot in conversation this season because it's going to impact a lot of important players, and now it impacts Wembanyama. What do we say about it?
Well, first and foremost, we'll see how serious this injury is. He still has a couple of days if they have to get him into a game. The Sunday game against Denver might not even matter to anybody, and if you can play him in that game, I think the motivation would be to do that. But in the end, as we've talked about this a lot this season, you've got Luka, you've got Anthony Edwards, Cade Cunningham. These are all players that should be all NBA players, some of them in the MVP conversation, that won't be because of this rule. But I was once a voter when I was a beat writer, and I feel like you still have to give the voter a discretion of whether or not a guy is close enough. We made this rule not because you want to punish somebody because of injury. We made this rule because you had to make sure players were playing enough games. And that was a problem. So I still say leave it up to discretion of the voter, but rules are rules.
Shump, that's the question. There are going to be people who are going to say that the rule is making some of these postseason awards look ridiculous. If you don't have Cade Cunningham and you don't have Luka and you don't have Wembanyama and any of these teams, they need to get rid of the rule. What do you say?
Hey, man, pick a side. Either get rid of the rule or don't get rid of the rule. I'll tell you one thing about rules. My father gave me rules in the house, so I couldn't live there. I know how to follow rules. They told me when I started playing basketball, if you take more than 2 steps, that's a travel. That's a rule. I don't like it. Sometimes I needed 3 or 4 steps. Couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So what I see is the NBA, if you're going to crack down. But if you're going to scrap it, scrap it. Either way, you can't have players thinking about that because then everything's going to become an argument.
See, I was totally in favor of the 65-game rule because of all the reasons we talked about ad nauseum here.
The tanking.
You want the players to stop. The tanking, the load management, all of that sort of thing. But the bottom line of it is there also is going to be something pretty ridiculous if we look at the All-NBA teams at the end of the season. And what feels like half of the obvious best players in the NBA aren't on it.
But one of your best abilities is your availability, right?
Yeah.
Is your durability as well. And so give credit to those who will be on the All-NBA teams that you might say, well, they didn't have a better season than this player or that player, but you know what they did? They played in more games. They got to the threshold. You've got some guys that are in the 70-plus games. That should count for something in the NBA that you are available to your team.
That's actually an interesting point there. The availability is part of the greatness.
Without a doubt. It's one of those things that if I was one of those guys this whole summer that yeah, I wasn't one of the top guys, but I worked my ass off, and I made sure that I went to every weightlifting session, and I did all my training stuff, and I was able to play 70 games, and I do get that honor. It's like, this is what it's about. Having that discipline and being able to do that, sometimes it's going to take a little bit of luck at the same time because it's an NBA season. But, hey, when you come out at the end, you got to say, hey, man, I did the rule.
We shouldn't change a rule because of an outlier season. Let's not get crazy about it. The reason why they made this rule was to make sure players played a certain threshold. This was not an issue until this year when it just so happened you've had a couple of injuries impact some players.
Yeah, really important injuries.
The main guys. And for Wembanyama, they were controlling him all season anyway. Right? So this was 65 wasn't a given for him. And he still could get it, though.
I think he's going to make sure.
You think he'll get out and play one of these games?
Without a doubt. From all the interviews that he's done, I totally believe that Victor Wembanyama is going to find a way to play 20 minutes. Yeah, figure it out. 20 minutes and sit me down.
Yeah, we'll see. He's got the left rib contusion. We'll find out more today.
To other news in the NBA, Victor Wembanyama missed the second half of the Spurs game against the Sixers with a left rib contusion. No word yet on the severity of the injury. Wemby has played 64 games this season and will need to play at least 20 minutes in one of the Spurs' remaining 3 games to maintain eligibility for postseason awards. We now welcome in NBA analyst Iman Shumpert on the show. And of course, he's looking cleaner than the Board of Health. Per usual, I see you with it. Listen, Shump, this injury is an L to the entire basketball world because Wemby is must-see TV, and we all want to see him on the court. But nobody's going to feel this more than the Spurs. How will this injury affect them going into the playoffs?
Well, I mean, it's definitely going to affect them when they start thinking about putting together schemes and putting together lineups that they can go out there and win with in the playoffs. But one thing that's not being talked about is how much these guards are going to continue to grow with the absence of him for however long he needs to just get right. Their guard play has been exceptional. Their guards, though losing Wemby in that game, continue to grind and continue to get it done. Castle came up big with that triple-double and got things done. So I low-key trust this Spurs team to keep on grinding and keep on making things happen, playing as if they don't have him so that when he makes his return, it's smooth sailing.
Yeah, Stephon Castle got his 5th triple-double of the season last night. Now, let's go to the East because the Cavs and the Knicks, they're fighting for the 3rd seed right now. The Cavs, they're just 1 game behind the Knicks for that 3rd seed. You played for both of these teams and you know them well. So which of them do you trust more as we head into the playoffs?
I got to go based off of, what everybody's done in the playoffs. And if I do that, I'm going to go ahead and trust the Knicks a little bit more. Jalen Brunson has shown time and time again that at the end of games you can trust him. He is a shot maker, a decision maker late in games, and in playoffs, that's what you need. You need a guy that's been there. You need a guy that's calm, collected, and willing to take on all the pressure that comes with it. Jalen Brunson has been proven in history showing that. I think I'm going to roll with the Knicks, man. I played for both organizations, man. I hope everybody don't get mad at me, but I'm going to roll with the Knicks on this one.
Yeah, the expectations for the Knicks right now is championship or bust. We heard it from their team owner himself. And Mom, we appreciate you joining us on SportsCenter.
Appreciate y'all.
What to watch for this weekend? Urologists making bank because it's the 90th edition of the Masters. Scotty Scheffler has won 2 of the last 4 green jackets. He finished 4th last year. He's the favorite to win this year, according to DraftKings Sportsbook. Rory McIlroy